your kind introduction. And I appreciate you acknowledging the wonderful leaders that we have here in York County. It was quite purposeful that we chose York County for this announcement today, because this is a community that's got its act together. This is a community with strong leadership, the county, local, and state level. And this is a community that cares deeply about our seniors. So I wanted to be here today for this important announcement. And I feel very at home here. It's wonderful to be at this great senior center. And I should note, I see a number of people wearing hats, making clear that they served our nation. And so I want to say thank you to all of our veterans who are here for your outstanding service to our nation. Thank you. And I know we have many veterans who aren't donning a hat today, but have done extraordinary service. And we thank you all very, very much. I wanted to be here today to celebrate the great progress we've made for our seniors here in York County and all across this great Commonwealth. You know, from the start of my administration as your governor, a little over 2 years ago, I made very clear that I was going to listen to seniors and I was going to deliver for them. And I want you to know, you can clap for that. I want you to know that is something I've been doing for a very long time. You know, about 20 years ago, I ran for state representative, the job that Representative Hill Evans has. And as part of my campaign to run, I went around and knocked on the doors of every person that lived in my community, over 18,000 doors. And I went and primarily just listened. I'd quickly introduce myself and I'd say, what's on your mind? And when I would get to the door of an older Pennsylvanian, they would take a deep breath and then they would say, how long do you have? And I knew that meant they had a lot on their minds. And they did. They had a lot of wisdom and they had a lot of needs and they had a lot of righteous demands of their state government. And so I've learned over the last 20 years as your state representative, as your attorney general, and now as your governor, to do a whole lot of listening. I like your ringtone, by the way. To do a whole lot of listening, and now to be in a position to deliver for all of you. I knew that in order to deliver, we needed to make sure we surrounded ourselves with people who could have seniors on their mind 24/7, 365. And who had the practical experience to be able to help and serve our older Pennsylvanians. And so that is where we found Secretary Jason Kavulich, who joins us here today, the head of the Department of Aging for the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Secretary Kavulich led a AAA, an area age. Say the AAA again.
Area Agency on Aging.
Yeah, we're just going to call them AAAs. I always mess that up. But he led one in Lackawanna County, which is in the northeastern part of our state. If you know where Scranton is, that's where Lackawanna County is. Why is that important? Because he had the practical expertise to be able to meet the needs of seniors in his community. I didn't want someone thinking about how to do all this stuff. I wanted someone doing this stuff and delivering for Pennsylvania seniors. And that's exactly what Secretary Kavulich has done. We needed someone who had that real-world experience and someone who cared deeply in his heart about helping older Pennsylvanians. We know how valuable and important, valuable contributions and how important our senior population is in Pennsylvania. I want you to consider this. Today, 1 out of every 4 Pennsylvanians are seniors. By the end of this decade, in just 5 years, by 2030, 1 out of every 3 Pennsylvanians will be a senior. Our older adult population is going to be 3.8 million people within the next 5 years. I think that is absolutely wonderful. I think that is a great thing. It means we've got more grandmoms and grandpas to go visit with and to laugh with and to learn with and play Wordle with. More seniors who can share their wisdom with us so that we can help move our Commonwealth forward with your expertise. But it also means we in positions of authority, and especially the Secretary, that we have a responsibility back to our seniors and make sure that we are here for you and supporting you with all of the different range of supports that you need. In the past, those supports for our seniors, well, didn't really keep up with the times. And I don't think, candidly, we coordinated effectively. You heard about all the great stuff happening in York County. That's awesome. But I think historically, we didn't do a great job of coordinating between the state level and our county senior adult services organizations. That has changed over the last 2 years. We are working better than ever together, and the beneficiaries of that are all of you, the seniors who are here. And we've listened to the needs that you've laid out and delivered. Let me start with one example. I have heard firsthand from seniors who are worried about being able to stay in their homes and live independently and afford to live independently with rising prices across the board. By the way, remember I told you about knocking on all those doors in the community I represented? I heard about this 20 years ago. And I said when I was campaigning to be your governor, that if you give me the shot to be your governor, we will deliver on that. Within the first 6 months of me serving as your governor, Representative Hill Evans in the House and senators in the other House all came together on a bipartisan basis to pass the largest tax cut for seniors in more than 2 decades in Pennsylvania. We worked together to deliver for all of you. This is something that folks in the Capitol talked about for so long, but we delivered. It started by listening to you, and then it meant working together to find common ground to get it done. Now, I came today in part to give you a report card on the work we've done. So let me start with a report card on those tax cuts for seniors. Over the last year, 522,000 Pennsylvania seniors got a property tax rent rebate. 522,000. Of that 522,000, 106,000 of them were first-time recipients of that property tax rent rebate. So when we passed that historic relief, we increased the rebate and we expanded the universe of people that would qualify, expanded it by 106,000 seniors. In addition to that, we had so many seniors who year after year after year, and I'm sure some people in this room know that, lost their property tax rent rebate. Why'd you lose it? You lost it because your Social Security payment went up just a little bit, right? And it priced you out. That's never going to happen again in Pennsylvania, because part of what we did is we put a COLA in place so that the property tax relief will keep up with any increased payments you get from Social Security. So seniors are never going to lose those benefits that they deserve. All right, so remember I said last year, 522,000 seniors, 106,000 of them were new. So how about this year, right? I want to keep giving you a report card on our progress. So far this year, 424,000 seniors have already applied for and gotten their property tax rent rebate. Why do I tell you that number? Because that is a faster pace, a better pace than we even had last year. So I expect this year more than 522,000 seniors will get their property tax relief. That's a big deal, putting money back in the pockets of our seniors so they can stay in their homes. They can afford to be in the communities that they love, close to their grandkids, close to their friends, close to the activities, close to the White Rose Senior Center. We think that is really, really important. Let me tell you about some other work we've been doing. Remember before I said that we hadn't been really coordinating very well on the resources we give to seniors and the benefits that we provide to seniors. You had great examples like York County under Commissioner Hope's leadership doing that work, but we weren't all working really well together. A big reason for that is Pennsylvania did not have a master plan on how to help our seniors. And so under Secretary Kavulich's leadership, for the first time ever, we built a master plan called Aging Our Way PA. Get it? Kind of rhymes. And that is serving now as a roadmap for us for this decade to deliver for Pennsylvania seniors. Now, how'd we come up with this report? Secretary Kavulich and his team went out and came to senior centers like this one and listened to the needs of seniors, and then brought all that information back to our Capitol, wrote it all down, and wrote a report. Now, for me, too oftentimes I've seen these government reports get written, not if you agree with me, they get written and then they get put on a shelf somewhere and nobody ever does anything about it, right? It's frustrating. For us, the Aging Our Way plan never made its way up onto a shelf. It sits on the desk, and it is what we provide to everyone in the Department of Aging as the roadmap for the work that we all need to do together. This plan has brought together services and investments from 29 different Commonwealth agencies to meet the needs of seniors all across Pennsylvania. From things like investing in public transportation to help our seniors get the ride shares they need to go to their medical appointments or go shopping, to ensuring caregivers have the training and support and compensation they need to do the important jobs they do for so many of you in this room, to lowering health insurance costs and prescription drug costs for our seniors, to making it easier for seniors to find and understand the information that shows what kind of benefits they qualify for. Things like the property tax rent rebate. Aging Our Way Pennsylvania has been the guiding document for our administration, and it is a real commitment to building a better future for our seniors as more and more of them occupy larger and larger parts of our population. We launched Aging Our Way Pennsylvania 1 year ago, almost to the day. And so I wanted to come here to York County today to give you a status report on how we're doing. Since that report was issued a year ago, we've taken significant strides under Secretary Kavulich's leadership to protect and better serve our seniors. First, we launched the Alzheimer's office in Pennsylvania. First time we've ever had such an important office to provide support for Pennsylvanians living with this disease as well as for their caregivers. Look, Alzheimer's is a heartbreaking disease, and because of this new division in the Department of Aging, we are now in a position for the first time ever to coordinate resources and connect more Pennsylvanians with the caregivers they need to get the help that they need in their time of need. Second, we have stepped up monitoring of our AAAs to provide greater transparency and accountability for the seniors that they care for. We all know that AAAs provide critical services to our seniors, and they often serve as the first line of defense against elder abuse. Now, for the first time ever, Pennsylvanians can go online to see how their local AAA is performing. We're bringing transparency to this system to protect our seniors. Third, just yesterday, the Department of Aging launched a new toolkit to support Pennsylvania's 1.5 million unpaid caregivers. This toolkit provides training for caregivers' connections to respite services so caregivers can get the rest that they need, and the resources to help families evaluate and select the professional caregivers that they so choose. These are 3 concrete steps that came out of Aging Our Way PA that we have taken so far to support older adults and the people who care for them. And I want you to hear me on this. We are just getting started. I know Secretary Kavulich will discuss more of what his incredible agency has accomplished and more of where we're going. But I also want you to know about how we're investing real dollars, real tax dollars, in meeting the needs of older Pennsylvanians. In the budget that I proposed back in February, that Representative Carol Hill Evans and her colleagues are now considering, I am calling for additional funding to support research into neurodegenerative diseases across Pennsylvania. I'm calling for more funding for our AAAs and the critical work they do to help seniors live and age with dignity in their homes and in their communities. And I'm calling for funding to support more of the work that is called for under Aging Our Way PA, to not only provide more resources to our seniors, but to better coordinate all of those resources from the county to the state level so that no senior gets left behind. We are listening to you. We are delivering for you. And I wanted to come back here today to York County to give you a status report on the progress that we are making. Part of what I also want to do today is spend some time with you individually and hear your individual concerns so we can incorporate that even more into the work we're doing. I'm proud of this work we're doing, and I'm really proud of the fact that it is now being recognized all across this great nation. I wanted to come here today to make an important announcement. In recognition of our work to support seniors and our strong plan to support seniors well into the future, AARP has designated Pennsylvania an age-friendly state. That is a big deal. I know Bill from the AARP is going to have more to say about this, but I'm proud that we're only the 13th state in the nation to get this recognition. And by the way, it's now a statewide recognition that York County has enjoyed for some time. What we've been able to do by putting the right people in the right place with the right plan and the right amount of funding is something that I think has helped move Pennsylvania forward when it comes to looking out for our seniors. And I want to be clear, when I talk about the right people, it's not just Secretary Kavulich and the wonderful people that work with him at the Department of Aging. It's our partners in this work, from senior centers like this one across Pennsylvania to great leaders like Bill Johnson Walsh from over at AARP. People in communities all across Pennsylvania who advocate for our seniors every single day. Folks like Kathy and Carmen. Look, here in York, community members came together to make sure that this community looked out for our seniors. And it earned York County that special distinction, that age-friendly special distinction back in 2020. You all are veterans here. You've been doing this for 5 years, so we're catching up to you now. Before today, about 25% of Pennsylvanians lived in an age-friendly county. Now today, due to this announcement, 100% of Pennsylvania seniors live in an age-friendly designated state. So, if you can't tell, I'm proud of the progress we're making. And if you can't tell, I also listen when you talk. I learned those lessons a long time ago when I was knocking on doors, and I've learned those lessons when I've shown up in senior centers like this one all across Pennsylvania. You've been outspoken about the needs that you have, from delivering historic tax relief, to making sure services get delivered for you, to making sure you can age with dignity in the communities that you love. I hear you, and we're fighting for you every single day. And I'm proud to work with this team and so many others on your behalf. Thank you for enriching our lives in Pennsylvania with your presence here. We're going to continue to make Pennsylvania a wonderful place, as Kathy said, to live, work, and play for all Pennsylvanians, especially our older Pennsylvanians. The person who's been doing so much of this hard work, leading this work for my administration, is Secretary Jason Kavulich, who leads the Department of Aging. I want to invite him and some other speakers up here, and then I'll return and take some questions from the media, and then I'll get the chance to visit with all of you. So with that, Secretary Jason Kavulich.
Good morning, everyone. It's an honor to stand alongside Governor Shapiro and all the dignitaries here with us today, honoring Older Americans Month, and to celebrate with you all Pennsylvania's official designation as an age-friendly state in partnership with DCED, AARP, and Pennsylvania's age-friendly community leaders. When Governor Shapiro honored me with an invitation to join his cabinet, I was at a loss for words. That's an understatement. What I did say to him, besides the obvious yes and thank you, was that the Pennsylvania Department of Aging would become a nationally recognized program. We did that accomplishment with Aging Our Way PA. But we did not stop there. We continued going, and we kept moving forward. Our age-friendly designation is just another national accomplishment for our administration. 2 years ago, just a few months after taking office, Governor Shapiro empowered our department to lead in the creation of a 10-year multi-sector plan, Aging Our Way PA. 1 year ago, the governor stood with us to launch Aging Our Way PA. Today, we stand together in partnership to build age-friendly communities, to work county by county, neighborhood by neighborhood, to make Pennsylvania the best place in the nation to age in. This designation of age-friendly would not be possible without the commitment this governor has demonstrated by listening to older Pennsylvanians and responding to their needs in meaningful and practical ways. Through bold, decisive action, this governor has empowered us to improve the service infrastructure that will serve us all as we age. Yesterday, we launched the PA Care Kit, our caregiver toolkit to help 1.5 million unpaid caregivers. That happened in just 9 months, where other states took years to accomplish. We've built out the ADRD, Alzheimer's and Related Dementia Office. We continue to build multidisciplinary teams and model things like the Northeast Older Adult Advocacy Center to address the needs of older adults at the community level. We've reframed senior centers, and we continue our conversation about reframing aging and how we talk about becoming older in Pennsylvania. And we're revitalizing the Pennsylvania Link to help older adults navigate to services that they need to live in their homes and communities. We're continuing to strengthen and stabilize our area agencies on aging so they can continue to be the critical community hubs and continue to be that front door for aging services for every older adult in the Commonwealth. And our newest initiative, our Age-Friendly Learning Collaborative, a response to community partners and their need to collaborate, support each other's work, and empower like-minded leaders to drive age-friendly planning, policies, and progress in communities all across our Commonwealth. I want to thank and celebrate the statewide community we have built this past year. From AARP, Bill Johnston-Walsh, our state director, and Bill Armbruster, the National Director of Age-Friendly Living Communities. Your guidance throughout this process has set the stage for a rapid expansion of age-friendly ideas and communities throughout our Commonwealth. From DCED, Rick Vallallo, Deputy Secretary of Community and Economic Development, who is here with us today. We've created Age-Friendly Pennsylvania as a guide reimagining older adult services infrastructure. This is not a Department of Aging effort. It's an effort of every department, agency, and stakeholder. DCD has been such a willing and engaged, powerful partner in this work. We would not be able to be here today without their support. Stephanie Edwards and the Age-Friendly Work Group members, all our state planning specialists, leaders from age-friendly communities across the Commonwealth, Laura Poskins and Paul Winkler from the greater Pittsburgh area, Carmen Bell from the Lehigh Valley, Nora Dodd Eisenhower, former Secretary of Aging from Philadelphia, Kathy Bollinger from York County. Kathy, thank you for the work you have done to transform this community. Age-friendly York County has helped us shape the path for communities all across Pennsylvania, and you for helping us make this event come together today. I want to thank Mike Castellano from Lackawanna County and their age-friendly movement, and Mark Shea, the director of the York County Area Agency on Aging, who has been a constant supporter and a constant advocate for aging services for many years. And I would also like to thank from the Department of Aging, Jesse Pierce, who has led this movement for the department and has made this day a reality. You are all the life of this project and have been advocating, planning, and coalition building as we worked in our communities all across the Commonwealth and worked to make sure that this statewide designation happened. This statewide designation stands on your shoulders today. Thank you for your enthusiasm and pushing us to achieve this designation, and thank you for shaping the vision of an age-friendly Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania age-friendly status is more than a designation, it's a call to action. Our journey towards an age-friendly future is just the beginning, a future where we can all age our way, with connection, purpose, and fulfillment. Governor Shapiro, thank you for always keeping the well-being of older Pennsylvanians a priority. Thank you for keeping Aging Our Way and older Pennsylvanians at the center of conversations. Thank you for making Pennsylvania an age-friendly community. And now, I'm pleased to introduce Bill Johnson Walsh, State Director for Pennsylvania AARP.
Good morning, everyone. As you heard, my name is Bill Johnston Walsh, and I serve as the State Director for AARP Pennsylvania. And on behalf of our 1.8 million members and all Pennsylvanians 50 and older, it is an honor to stand up here before you today as we celebrate Older Americans Month here in May. It's the tail end, but it's still Older Americans Month. And happily announce that Pennsylvania is officially enrolled in AARP's network of age-friendly states and communities. This designation is the result of ongoing collaborations between the Pennsylvania Department of Aging, the governor, stakeholders across the Commonwealth, including AARP and members of think tanks comprised of dedicated age-friendly leaders that are right here in this room. And they're champions from among the 10 Pennsylvania cities and counties already enrolled in the AARP network of age-friendly states and communities. Back when Governor Shapiro was running for office as candidate Shapiro, AARP met with him to discuss a few issues. And one of the issues at the time was the designation of Pennsylvania as an age-friendly state. The governor was great. He listened, as he mentioned here today. He asked some really good questions. What does this mean? What's the cost? What's going on? You know, he's always thinking about these things. And at the end, he says, I think it's a good idea. Fast forward, now we have Governor Shapiro. He was elected, and one of the first things he did out of the gate was to bring an outstanding Secretary of Aging and gave his marching orders to establish this multi-sector plan that everyone is talking about, all known as the Governor's Aging Our Way PA plan. And he just didn't do it, you know, like, oh, I'll get to it, I'll get around to it. No, he did it right out of the gate. And then, not only that, he said, and I want it done within, I don't know, you know, let's just say 13 months. I'll give you a little over a year to get this done. And I'm happy to say that in that multi-sector plan, there were tons of recommendations. Some that we heard today have been implemented already, some that are being worked on. And the one today, one of the recommendations was to establish Pennsylvania as an age-friendly state. Today, as you heard, Pennsylvania officially becomes the 13th state in the nation to be accepted as a member of the AARP network of age-friendly states and communities. On a personal note, we were going back and forth with Ohio. Not that I'm competitive or anything, but we beat Ohio, everyone.
Say that again. Say that again.
We beat Ohio. So we are 13. Maybe they'll be 14. I'm not sure, but
Little friendly competition.
yeah,
It's all right.
exactly. By aligning with the AARP Global Age-Friendly Initiatives, Pennsylvania now gains access to expert resources and technological support to help identify and promote policies and initiatives that make neighborhoods walkable, feature safe transportation options, enable access to key services, provide opportunities to participate in community activities, and support affordable, adaptable housing is some of their goals that we have. This commitment to make Pennsylvania more livable will build on the efforts of counties like Allegheny, Lehigh, Lackawanna, Northampton, and York, and the cities like Lancaster, Philadelphia, and Pittsburgh, which have already embraced creative, well-designed, very well-designed, age-friendly communities that foster economic growth and make for happier, healthier residents of all ages, life stages, and abilities. Simply put, the common thread among the enrolled members in AARP's networks of states and communities is the belief that the places where we live are more livable and better able to support people of all ages when local and state leaders commit to improving the quality of life for the younger, the older, and everyone in between. AARP believes that this designation will ignite important partnerships at every level, from our smallest communities to government agencies, and will make Pennsylvania an even better place to live for all. We congratulate the governor and the Commonwealth on the accomplishment and look forward to working with the governor, with Secretary Kavulich, and with all of you to make sure that we stay on course in what we need to do to make everyone live in their communities as long as possible and be healthy and happy. So thank you all very much. I'd like to introduce right now Carmen Bell. Carmen is one of the strongest advocates I know. She joins us from the Lehigh Valley, and you don't mess with Carmen. That's all I want to say.
Bill,
Carmen, thank you.
Wow, that's a tough introduction to live up to.
You got it.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Governor Shapiro, Secretary Kavulich, elected officials, community residents, members of the press, and other assembled guests. Thank you also to all who work so diligently toward making this designation a reality. I'm personally very grateful for the support of my United Way team, my colleague Victoria Sayre, who's here, our senior leadership, represented by our CEO, Marcy Lesko. Age-Friendly PA offers all our communities the opportunity to succeed through shared goals and strategies and an increased ability to build community and learn from each other. Building and strengthening community is how we can ensure that older adults, and indeed all residents of the Commonwealth, have the tools they need to thrive. I know firsthand how important community is and how important access to information and knowledge of resources is important. When my father began to forget and to wander, we were scared and uncertain as to what was happening, but our community rallied around us to help keep him safe. That was over 30 years ago, and things have changed a lot. And then when my mother came to live with me, I was still uncertain as to how to access resources, despite being in the work. And I thought to myself, if I'm having that confusion and that lack of assuredness, how must others feel who are not connected to this work? And it put us on a path to making sure that we could close some of those gaps. Just recently, a treasured member of the Lehigh Valley team passed away. And unlike the situation with my father and with my uncertainties with my mother, Carol Gonzalez had community support, and she and her family were able to access services and resources because of the work being done across multi-sector initiatives to ensure that her family had the tools needed and the resources and information needed to help her with her life and then with her transition. So we are grateful for that. And we wish that for every family and every member of our community. As it is often said, we are stronger together. Age-Friendly PA and the Master Plan in Aging Our Way, provide the framework for us to continue to build a strong, vibrant community where everyone is engaged and respected and included and has what they need to thrive. It has been my great honor to be a part of this journey, and I look forward to the continued learning and work we can do together for the good of older adults and for all who live, work, and play in the age-friendly state of Pennsylvania. Thank you so much for your time and attention, and it's my pleasure to turn the podium over to Representative Hill Evans.
I do. So I'm here without a script, so I get to say pretty much anything I want to. So the first thing I'm going to say is, hey, White Rose Senior Center! Usually when I'm here, we have tables around, people are playing cards, we're dancing, we're having a great time, and it would take the governor to bring all of you out here today. So thank you all for being here. I'm extremely proud to be your state representative, to work along with the secretary and the governor to make sure that you have the kind of resources that you need in order to stay in your places, in order to make your lives a little less worrisome. And so I was extremely proud to be one of the prime sponsors for House Bill 1100, which increased the property tax rent rebate amount from $600 up to $1,000. Yep. And when you hear of the tens of thousands of people who were new to this program, I'm here to tell you that at least 1,700 plus have come through our office. And there's a lot more work to be done. I do want to tell you that if you didn't get the opportunity to put in your application and you are eligible, that deadline has been extended to December 31st of this year. We're open for business. Come and see us. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Governor. Thank you for the opportunity. God bless.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Representative Hill Evans. I want to get the chance to visit with all of you. I got to take a few questions from the media first, and then we'll get the chance to chat. Any of you guys have any questions? No? Give me one sec. The mayor asked to say a quick word, and he's the mayor. So go ahead, Mayor.
I just had I was working this morning to prepare a little celebration for today, a celebration announcement, and I want folks to know that we were on the phone with PennDOT this morning, and we're in agreement that we are going to work to have, to improve our pedestrian elder crossings at our lights so that we can now have designated times for just pedestrians and have all of the lights stopped at once, because we have been having issues with pedestrians, and also extending the time that you'll be able to walk across the street. So it's just one more step.
Great.
It's just
Thank you, Mayor.
one more step that we're taking.
Yes, thank you, Mayor.
Yep, absolutely.
And look, that's a really important point. I just want to stress, I'm glad the mayor brought that up. Remember before I said 29 different agencies have worked together with Secretary Kavulich, right? One of them is PennDOT, because we got to make sure folks can get to and from where they're going, whether they're using mass transit, they're driving, they're walking, they're biking, whatever it is. And so the mayor's point about being able to work with PennDOT to make it easier for seniors to walk across the street, get where they need to go. It's a great example of how we're all working together. And that's what I think we need more of, by the way, in government, in life, and certainly to get this done. So thank you, Mayor, for sharing that with us. I got one last thing, and I'll take your question. We talked a lot about Secretary Kavulich, who's awesome. He'll be the first to admit he works with a great team, and a bunch of them are here. I noticed them as I was giving my remarks. I know you don't get the chance to see them every day, but they're working really, really hard for you behind the scenes. So if you just kind of turn your head around, everybody who works at the Department of Aging, raise your hand. I want people to know who you are, right? Megan Abbott, Gabby, yep. A lot of wonderful people. They're working hard for you every day. So thank you. Appreciate you guys. All right, go ahead.
Governor Shapiro,
Yeah.
thank you for being here today. Can you tell me, will you attend the President's rally at U.S. Steel in Pittsburgh tomorrow, and what are your thoughts on this possible deal?
Yeah, well, first, let's talk about the deal, and then I'll talk about where I'm going to be tomorrow. Steel making in Pennsylvania is such a critically important part of our heritage and our history. But the thing is, I don't want my kids to read about steel making in the history books. I want kids all across Pennsylvania to have the opportunity to be a steel worker and to continue to make Pennsylvania the place where steel is manufactured, where we can continue to be the arsenal of democracy because of the hands of steelmakers and others who fashion our bridges and fashion so many other things out of steel that are critical in our everyday lives. For years and years and years, those steelworker jobs have been taken out of Pennsylvania and gone elsewhere, and plants have shuttered. So I've been working really hard to make sure that we can protect our great legacy, but grow for the future of steelmaking in Pennsylvania. So I've worked with everybody, our labor unions, our business community, U.S. Steel, Nippon Steel, the company that will acquire U.S. Steel under this deal. I've worked with two presidents on this, President Biden and President Trump, and their administrations to make sure that steelmaking could be protected here in Pennsylvania. Because in this case, a foreign company, Nippon, from Japan, would be acquiring U.S. Steel, it has to go through a process known as CFIUS. It's a federally run process that only the President of the United States gets to make a determination about. President Biden used his power to stop a deal from going forward. President Trump announced just a few days ago that he intended to support the deal and have that go forward. That now gives us an opportunity to protect steelmaking in Pennsylvania. And based on the commitments that Nippon Steel has made to me and seemingly to the White House, that will mean that we are going to see growth in our steelmaking here in Pennsylvania. And under the terms of this deal, a at least $2.4 billion investment in steelmaking in Pennsylvania. That's a big deal. And it's something that I think we do need to celebrate. As for celebrating it tomorrow, my understanding is the president is having this event Friday night. I think, as most people know, Friday night for me is reserved for our Sabbath dinner with our family. We try and do that. It's an important moment for me to take out time during the week to be with my family. So I will be with them, but I'll be celebrating this and looking forward to getting this deal done and knowing that we all worked together on this to make it happen and protect our steelmaking here in Pennsylvania.
Prices are going up for Pennsylvanians this weekend. Some have put the blame on policies in Maryland and New Jersey. So how would you respond to those allegations against your fellow Democratic governors? And have you had conversations with those governors about energy policies?
Well, I'm focused on energy here in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Those governors can speak for themselves. Our energy prices are largely set by something called PJM, which is a conglomerate of multiple states, including Pennsylvania, that kind of sets capacity and sets pricing for individual consumers, businesses, and others. I've been really candid for the last couple of years. I do not think PJM is serving the good people of Pennsylvania well. In fact, they were looking to jack up prices significantly a few months ago. And you know what I did? I took them to court, and I won, and I protected all of you from dramatic increases in price hikes. I've made clear that we've got to re-examine whether or not Pennsylvania should be a member of PJM. Maybe we should set our own pricing. Why would I say that? Because here in Pennsylvania, we are a net energy exporter, meaning we create more energy than we actually need, and so we sell our energy to other states. That puts us in a strong position to both keep consumer prices low and also create markets in other states. And so because we have that power, I don't want to give up that power to some other state or to some conglomerate. I want us to be able to protect Pennsylvanians, and I want us to grow. I think energy is critically important to creating jobs and economic opportunity in Pennsylvania. And because we produce an abundance of it, I think we should use that power to keep our prices low in our Commonwealth. So we're exploring a number of different things. That which I can do unilaterally and that which we would need legislative support for, we're working hard to build bipartisan consensus in that space. Okay? Anything else? Great. Thank you all very much. This is a great day for older Pennsylvanians, and it's awesome to be here at White Rose back in York County. Thank you all for welcoming me back, and thank you all for speaking up, and I want to assure you again, we are listening. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you. I love working with you guys. I remember that.